guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
IHTN Sports.
Welcome, folks, to Indian Hill Gymnasium. I'm Rob Young with Brian Shaw, bringing you tonight's action where the Indian Hill Braves will be taking on the Deer Park Wildcats. Hey, Brian, this is a rematch of a game earlier where the Braves lost by 3. They were commanding that game going into halftime, but were experiencing foul trouble. They held tight in the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter, they ended up with 3 guys who actually fouled out of that game. This is a different game tonight. These are 2 different teams. For Deer Park, we're missing Mark Wise. For Indian Hill, we're missing Trey Lopez. But Indian Hill has Josh Young back.
Yeah. You know, it's a game I missed. You'd be the expert on what happened over at Deer Park. I was out in Taylor scouting Marymount, figuring who's going to guard Max McGowan. You know, tonight, looking at this team, I just looking back at what happened. This is not the same kind of Deer Park team as far as style of play, it looks like. A little bit more of a deliberate team. Indian Hill, if you'd have told me they'd only turned the ball over 8 times in that first game and that they would have 22 offensive rebounds where Deer Park would only have 11, I'd have said game. But, you know, Deer Park found a way, got to the line 39 times, did turn it over themselves, shot it pretty well, and, you know, this is a Deer Park that wins in different ways. So I'm interested to see them. I haven't seen them this year. The Mark Wise situation, you mentioned that, and we'll talk about that here as we get into the game. But one of the true joys over the last several years is to be able to watch Mark Wise, a kid that plays at a really high level and really gets his teammates involved.
So we got the starting lineup coming out here tonight. For the Braves, number 1, Josh Young. Number 2, Ty Thornton. Number 5, Wyatt Walks. Number 12, Mateo Lopez. And number 32, Luke Robinson. So back to Mark Wise, great player.
Yeah, terrific player. I remember him here as a freshman, you know, when they brought the first group of guys in. And it was him and Jalen Rose and Ibrahim Aithi. And Mark Wise should have probably had 20 assists, but nobody could put it in the bucket. And then I saw him, you know, when he's a sophomore, and obviously they make that great run and they win, they bring in Damani, and, you know, now it changes, right? The competitive nature of the team changes. The kid just wills them to win after win. And, of course, Steve Gentry's son, Steve Gentry Jr., coming in from Purcell. You know, but with Mark Wise, of all the things that the Ohio High School Athletic Association worries about, this year, him going over to Taft for a few weeks and coming back, that's one I guess I just don't agree with. Like to see him on the floor. I think it'd be good for the CHL.
I agree. It's, you know, as a fan of the sport and as a competitor, you always like to see competitive games, and you always like to see the best athletes playing and out on the floor. And the Braves are moving around the ball.
And I'm sure, you know, if you ask these Deer Park kids, they want to see Trey Lopez as well.
Exactly.
Trey's situation a little different. That's not an OHSAA thing by any stretch. But nonetheless, hey, great players on the floor tonight. This should be a terrific game.
And Deer Park's going to bring their press. They've got a young man out there on Thornton matching up, number 1. Who is Jamarian Jones, who's a junior.
And this is where Indian Hill left off. You know, the first game, Indian Hill with 26 fouls. You mentioned the foul trouble. And already Deer Park getting to the line. And that's one of the things Indian Hill can control tonight. You know, you can control fouls.
Yeah.
It's got to be in position and really have a little confidence that if you play good defense and you make guys shoot over you, they're not all NBA shooters.
Well, and we talked about, you know, the foul issue. It was a very lopsided called game. You know, I don't mind fouls being called, but Deer Park is a physical team, and we only made it to the line 12 times.
Yeah.
Where they made it to the line 39 times.
Yeah, Deshaun McIntyre has been around for the entire ride. Came over with his brother, Damani. And there's what you're used to seeing with Deer Park. Turn them over and get out in transition. Jamarian Jones, everybody's familiar here at Indian Hill with him, played for Taylor the last couple of years.
Young drives in, dishes it off to Walks, who patiently waits, puts it up off the mark. Young trying to rebound it, it's on the floor. Robinson needs to go up with it. He goes up, and it bounces in and out. It's going to be Braves ball underneath the basket. Lots of physical play underneath that.
Yeah, Rob, one of the things that surprised me about the first game is I'm just looking at what happened. Braves with 22 offensive rebounds against Deer Park in the first game. So look for more of that tonight, more opportunities for the Braves to take multiple shots.
The Braves need to be patient, work on that inside-outside game. It'll open the outside shot. They don't need to rush their shots. It's a 3-0 game with a little over 6 minutes left here in the first quarter, folks.
Nice job there. Yeah.
Going to be Deer Park ball.
Gentry Jr. with a rare turnover. Always loved that kid's game. One of the things you're seeing more and more with Ty and with Mateo, you know, I don't know that they've shot it the way they envisioned this year, but they're both adjusting and taking the ball to the basket, and I absolutely love it.
Gentry off the mark, who's probably one of the better shooters in the league.
Yeah, certainly one of the better two shooters on this team, Gentry and Munson.
Ty Thornton drives the baseline and gets two for the Braves. It's a 2-3 game.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, you know, I mean, Ty honestly has made that transition maybe 4 or 5 games ago and just love what he's doing going to the basket.
Young gets his second foul already. So they're going to call this tight on Young, which is where we were in the first game. Young not playing, but he's going to have to come take a seat for a little bit. We're going to bring Amari Whitehead in.
Jamarian Jones last year at Taylor against Indian Hill at the game at Taylor, 19 points, 4 rebounds. So this Braves staff and these kids very familiar with Jamarian Jones. Really a revamped roster. You lose a couple of kids, and Ibrahim Aithi, who was there for a few years, and Joe Hocker. And Deer Park able to reload. 3 new guys coming in, playing big minutes. One from Springfield, one from Roger Bacon, and one from Taylor. And all 3 have meshed really well. They've done a great job of getting these guys to play together.
And the Braves bring it to a 4-5 game.
Rob, I'm not sure if you would see that in the summer from Ty Thornton, but I know you wouldn't have seen it at the beginning of the year from Ty. He's really starting to probe. Looks a lot like Wyatt Walks with his game. Yeah, Jamarian Jones going to really attack at that rim and make you rebound the basketball. Yeah, go up, big fella.
Luke with a basket in the paint, and that's how you beat this Deer Park team, is you go into the paint, you put that ball up, you get the rebounds.
Yeah, Deer Park's never been a team that's going to foul you a lot, never been a team that's going to worry a whole heck of a lot about giving up a bucket. They're just going to get it, and they're going to go, and they're going to get it on the other end, and they're going to hope that they turn you over in other parts of the floor enough. So when you get to the basket, be deliberate, be strong, you'll get rewarded.
Thornton up off the mark. Rebounded Deer Park. Got to box out on the inside, boys. Got to box out. Tipped back in by Deer Park's number 21. That is Ramon Brown.
Yeah, you said it, Rob, really. I mean, you got to account for people and put a body on them and not try to out-jump everybody. You out-jump them, it really turns it into a 50-50 ball. This is a really well-coached team. At this point, Coach Gentry, I believe in his 4th or 5th year, and they're playing the game the way he wants them to play it. Coach Gentry, Coach Revels, guys who've been around a long time, know the game, teach the game, and it's a fun way to play. I mean, there isn't anybody that gets on the bus that's stressed out about making shots or remembering schemes. This is about attacking and being confident playing together.
Gentry drains the 3, goes up 12-6, and they're bringing the press, which you knew they were going to bring.
Yep.
Mari Whitehead in, dishes it off to Mac Durbin, who gets the ball on the floor and gets it stripped away. Amari Whitehead still fighting for it. It's going to be off of Amari. It's going to be Deer Park ball. Young's going to come back in here as soon as there's a dead ball. Matt gets a foul. Young will be coming in.
Yeah, I talked about Trey Munson just took that 3. He's actually shooting it really well, over 46% on the year. Last year at Roger Bacon, averaged 7 points, 1.4 rebounds, and huge game against Bishop Reedy, which is one of the better athletic schools in the state up in Columbus. 15 points, 3 boards, and this is a group of guys. I mean, it's kind of like really all 3 juniors coming in. It's kind of like it's a college game if you go to the JUCO route and bring guys in. They get 2 years of eligibility with you, and they're already, in all honesty, they're already pretty seasoned. So these are veteran guys that you bring them in. The key is, and I think what makes Coach Gentry, Coach Rebels so good, is being able to get them to play together. Because anytime you bring guys in, you got promises and expectations and things of that nature. It's kind of like what you always talk about with Coach Cal down in Lexington.
Yeah.
You got to share it.
You got to share the wealth. Takeaway on.
Yeah, active hands. And, you want to. Young guy wants to get to the basket, thinking about scoring, thinking about elevating. We're talking to Matthew Veith about that, our junior, 6'7", being stable on the base. Jamarian Jones, really a battler. I tell you what, I mean, he was that way at Taylor, that way now. Love the heart. And really the guy I think that's closest, I mean, not at the level of Damani McIntyre. I don't think they're going to see another one like that as far as a competitor and a guy that put him on their back. But Jamarian Jones, similar type of guy, attack. This Braves team coming off a game on Tuesday night at Wyoming.
Amari Whitehead with a 3, cutting the lead to 3. Young with a block. Oh, Whitehead gets the loose ball. Young will get credit with the block. Whitehead will get the ball up to Thornton. Looking to get it back out to Whitehead. Charge called on Deer Park. Great way to put your body in the play. We're going to have a replay of this. Whitehead with his 3.
Yeah, glad to see Amari. I know Amari's spending a lot of time on that shot and a lot of time on the free throws, as he should, because he gets to the line quite a bit.
Whitehead with another 3 off mark. Rebounded by, nope. Young couldn't hold on to it.
Here we go, Gentry Jr.
Jump ball, Young fighting for it.
One of the things, Rob, that's always impressed me about this Deer Park team, they play the game at a fast speed, but they don't get emotional about stuff. You miss a shot, you get right back into what you do. You know, you turn it over, you get right back into what you do.
Amari Whitehead with the rebound.
It looks like we got a rolled ankle. Hopefully it's not a big deal.
Oh, Whitehead off to Coach Gentry's not happy.
Yeah, well, that's all right. You know, Tuesday night we're talking about this Braves team, and you know, with no Trey, with no Charlie, this is a team that's the numbers have reduced quite a bit. And this Braves team goes over to Wyoming, and in spite of the fact that Wyoming made probably 10 more free throws than they did, play them to a two-possession game. And you know, Wyoming's got some terrific athletes. I mean, I think if you look at the top 2 players in this league as far as how they've played to date, certainly Evan Prather, certainly Isaiah Walker would be at the top of that list. And this Braves team, just remarkable how well they played together the other night. They play like that, they got a good shot.
Well, and you're talking about it, the 2 leading scorers in the league. Number 1, Isaiah Walker per 24 points a game. Number 2, Evan Prather with 20.6 points a game. Whitehead with a great move. That was a fantastic. Amari Whitehead is coming into his own at this Deer Park game. It's a 13-14 game, 20 seconds left. Indian Hill is playing with active hands, coming out and pressing the ball, forcing Deer Park into turnovers. And you can't let those boys shoot from the outside like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rob, that's a deep, deep 3. And when you're out there that far away, obviously you raise up too much, the guy goes by you. That was a deep 3. Let's take a look.
Watch this move by Whitehead. A step around, nice little floater.
Yeah, Mari's been working really hard at the skill aspects of his game. Try to get them to match the hustle and athleticism parts of his game, which are unquestioned. Got a note handed to us. Please announce when able. Cross Country is holding a bake sale in the lobby, and Braves line is now open in the hallway. So if you're at home, if you're in China, if you're up in Hudson, Ohio,
if you're in Switzerland,
and if you happen to have some ability to get here, those things are available to you. I think maybe they thought we were the PA guys.
I think you're right.
Or, in all fairness, they thought, you know, they could just hear you when you talk because you get kind of that loud voice. So great first quarter. I mean, everything you could ask for, really. $6 is, I think, still that we don't pay, but, you know, those that do,
yeah.
$6, Rob, that's not bad.
So the Braves will start the quarter with the ball. And an errant pass by the Braves. That's Marion Kane, who did a nice job of tipping that ball out. Out to Amari Whitehead looking.
Nice job by Amari making a good decision. Just because you hit a few shots doesn't mean that's your best option.
Nice pick set by Luke Robinson. Another pick.
Yeah, right now, no real answer on the floor for Deer Park with Robinson if they can get him a touch close. And they have to work to get it, though. Going to have an opportunity with a roll here. Roll.
Robinson trying to get the rebound. It's going to stay Indian Hill ball.
Yeah. Luke Robinson active. Like to see that with the big man. A lot to handle right there for these Deer Park defenders, giving up some size.
So you got to like that Coach Birch is going a little deep on the bench, giving guys some break. Obviously Young with 2 fouls. He's going to play him probably lightly this quarter so that he's got him for 2 full quarters, hopefully in the second half.
You know, it's going to be an up and down game. You're going to have to compete. You can't just hold the ball. That's never been the way Indian Hill plays. So, you know, you're going to have to get out there and compete. You're going to have to get guys rest. I love it.
Whitehead off the mark. You can tell, though, that he is working on that shot. That's a much better looking shot than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Amari is in the mid-40s now. We don't have the numbers in from the Wyoming game, but Amari is in the mid-40s with regard to the times he's been to the line, which for the minutes he's played is remarkable. And he is working on that because he knows those are points that are going to be available to him, Rob, simply because he attacks. I mean, he's just got a great mentality for this game to go to the basket.
Well, and here's proof. Leading scorer for Indian Hill right now is Amari Whitehead.
The Braves getting rewarded, too, with a lot of these possession calls just for being active and competing. You know, you make it hard on people, well, you're going to get your fair share of possessions. That's unnecessary.
Mateo gets called for an offensive foul there. Birch not happy with it.
Yeah, the arm extended. Not sure it had a whole lot to do with what was going on. But when you extend the arm, you give the referee an opportunity to make a decision.
Well, and it was an Emmy Award.
And there you go the other way. Same exact call. Oh, my goodness. Salon quality hair.
Robinson.
I'll take that. 2 hands, but I'll take it.
14-19 game. Nice feed into Robinson, a little deep, goes up, a little strong off the mark. Don't play volleyball, boys. Grab it with 2 hands.
Yeah, Luke being very active. Love that. The effort right there, and I think over the long term that's going to pay off. He's going to get better and better at finishing.
Whitehead gets called for the foul. They'll be shooting 2. It's a 14-19 game here in the second quarter.
Julian Anderson shooting just his 3rd and 4th free throws of the season.
And that is very evident.
But again, you know, this Deer Park team, you like to make those, but you're not gonna hang your head just going on to the next thing. I love the mentality.
Nice pass by Whitehead up. Can't finish it. It'll be shooting 2 for Robinson. That's all we need. We need the ball to get in, Luke to control it, go up for the 2. He's going to get fouled in those kind of situations.
Yeah, you can see the potential clearly, Rob, in this game. If Luke can keep it simple and just finish, you know, and just be strong and efficient with the movements at the rim, he's going to have a big night. Yeah, this Deer Park team going to lose a couple of seniors here coming up. Deshaun McIntyre, Mark Wise is already out, as we mentioned, and Steve Gentry Jr. at the end of the season. Be interesting to see what happens, how they retool.
Nice rebound by Thornton. Nice rebound by Robinson. He gets blocked. Ball on the floor. Whitehead with it. Smart move to pull it out.
Yeah, he's made a few of them tonight. Really good decisions. I like to see Amari being his own best friend. And what I mean by that is giving himself the best opportunity to be successful, because he
drains another 3. That gives Amari Whitehead 9 points. His breakout game so far of the season.
Nice move there by Ramon Brown.
Whitehead coming in a little hot, but he gets the 2.
Play hard, you get rewarded. Opportunities that don't present themselves to guys that don't run the floor.
Somebody's got to be out on that guy.
Yeah, Jamarian Jones able to stroke it. We've already seen Trey Munson.
And the Braves get called for 10 seconds. And that's just having a little bit too much inexperience out on the court in a varsity setting that's high speed, high pressure.
Yeah, Braves still really, I mean, you think about it, a fairly inexperienced team when you think about how many minutes of the guys that are playing big minutes now, how many minutes did they play last year? You know, this season really, Rob, to me is still a work in progress. There's a lot that can happen over the next few weeks for this team to get better because none of these guys are baked. I'd say the closest thing to it, obviously, Wyatt Walks, a lot of experience there.
Well, you've got senior leadership in Young, but you know he missed his entire sophomore year. Last year he was just coming back, had another knee surgery partway through the season to clean up the meniscus, and then this summer had the unfortunate experience at Mount St. Joe's blowing his other knee out, and he's only 6 months out from knee surgery.
Yeah,
and we're not talking just a scope like Zion Williamson had. We're talking about a kid that had a full ACL, had his meniscus repaired on June 28th, and he's back out on the court.
Yeah, amazing. And, you know, his minutes obviously have increased significantly throughout the course of the season. And now you look at it, you know, I mean, Mateo, that's a guy that, you know, played varsity minutes last year, but not a leader on the varsity last year. Same thing with Ty Thornton, got a little bit of time, but mostly a JV player last year. So this is a group that's young still. Luke Robinson the same way.
Off the mark. Young's up in the court, backcourt by himself. Got to look up the court, folks. Got to look up the court.
Like to see Luke Folke get an opportunity.
Thornton's going to get called for travel. Turn the ball over.
Yeah, Luke Folke getting an opportunity here with Trey Lopez being out. Luke getting an opportunity and plenty athletic enough, plenty skilled enough. Just now a matter of confidence and slowing the game down a little bit. It's not as fast as it probably looks to him right now.
Young on Gentry. Ball stripped
Great
away.
hands by Mateo.
It's going to be a jump ball. Or they call a foul.
Wyatt Walks on the floor.
Foul on number 12 for Deer Park.
And his guard's running away from him.
Deshaun McIntyre, senior.
Boy, Deshaun McIntyre looking pretty strong, isn't he?
Yeah.
Looking like a wrestler playing basketball here. His brother's got one of the all-time great, you know, he's out in Utah playing college basketball. Says, what's your hometown? And what's your
nice feed by Young to Lopez for the two.
Mateo Lopez able to finish with contact, doing a great job expanding his game from being a shooter to a scorer. Take a look at that here, nice pass as well.
Foul on Wyatt Walks.
Josh Young with a nice pass. And the first on Wyatt. Haven't seen Wyatt, to my recollection, really in foul trouble. I'd be interested to see how a guy that plays as smart as he does can play with multiple fouls. Look at that.
Nice.
Wyatt just saying there's really not much reason for me to foul. I see things.
Nice put up by Wyatt Walks.
Yeah, a team that does not defensively rebound the basketball like Deer Park right now, Wyatt Walks can make a killing.
It's going to be Braves ball. Nope, they're going to award it to Deer Park. And the student section does not like that at all.
Well, you know, they're getting some of those, and the Braves doing a great job on every possession, seemingly battling for possession of the basketball.
Thornton's going to get called for the foul there. That'll be the team's 7th foul, so Deer Park will be shooting 1 and 1.
Good hustle there by Thornton. First foul, so not a lot hurt. But certainly going to need him as we get deeper in this game.
Makes it a 26-23 game. And that one's off the mark. Ball's up. Deer Park with the rebound. McIntyre goes up, gets fouled. That's on Whitehead. It'll be his.
You know, I'm just thinking, we're looking at our rosters here, and we're getting Ramon Brown, number 21. I mean, it says it as clear as day, but I don't think that's who it is. I think that's Annie Elliott. And Elliott coming in averaging 13.5 points, 7.2. Last year averaged 4.5 points, almost 4 rebounds for Springfield. And had a monster game against Trotwood Madison. It took a great effort from Amari Davis, who's killing it in college right now, to beat Springfield in an up and down battle. So I think we got a roster issue. We apologize to anybody at Deer Park.
Nice feed. Braves bring it within 4. Bring it within 3.
Simple game, Rob. Simple game. Just got to take your time and see it.
Well, and that's when the Braves work the ball as a team. They're very difficult to beat.
Yeah. Well, and when they're strong with the basketball and they look and they play together, that's a defense that ought to yield that result just about every time. Well, I tell you what, he really gets the corner, doesn't he?
Just like his dad used to.
Very impressed with it. But that 1-3-1, I mean, right now.
Young with a basket.
That's not just too easy. That's ridiculous. Braves just need to keep at it. But
Deer Park straining the threes, though, and this is what killed in Indian Hill in that Finneytown game.
Yeah, with the Braves that are on the floor right now, the guards that are on the floor, no harm in getting up and making a guy put the ball on the floor. No harm in that. There's a group of guards out on the floor right now. Yeah.
Miscommunication on Young and Watt's part there.
That's a different situation. See what they do defensively here.
And they're taking Young out to protect him from getting a late quarter foul here.
Looks like Jamarian Jones is going to draw the assignment with Luke Robinson. Tough matchup. Only 20 seconds left here in the first half.
It's a turnover on Deer Park.
Yeah, two guys that just haven't played a whole lot together, but I like that. That's good action right there. Changing up the defense, and I think that's one of the things I like Deer Park does. Show you different looks.
Stay Indian Hill ball.
This Indian Hill team, though, I think recognizes it. You know, sometimes you can get a couple of wasted possessions by switching things, but Braves look like they recognized it.
Thornton trying to get it open to Lopez, who puts it up before the buzzer, but it's no good. So the Braves are going to go into the locker room down by 6. It's a 27-33 game, folks. It is Hall of Fame night. Tonight's action is brought to you by Beacon Orthopedic, Bob Summerall Tire, Dial One Security, Grasscore, Huntington Bank, Weiler Automotive with 7,500 vehicles at your disposal, Valley Asphalt, Clean Camp Paving, Liquidator World, National Heating and Cooling, and Sipsy Klein. And again, Beacon Orthopedic, who is our team trainer and medical staff here at Indian Hill, I'm Rob Young with Brian Shaw. We're going to take a quick moment here.
Yeah, Hall of Fame night, as you mentioned, and here, stay with us for the half because we're going to bring you the Hall of Fame festivities. We're not necessarily going to announce it, but you'll be able to hear the legendary Bill Cunningham is going to come out. Of course, Deer Park's own Bill Cunningham is going to introduce two members that are new to the Hall of Fame. Elizabeth Heinbach, class of 2012, a great cross-country runner, great swimmer, swam in college at Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken, New Jersey. And she also ran track and did it all incredibly well, qualified for state more than anybody in Cincinnati history. And Josh Cooper from the class of 1998. The Braves in that year, basketball-wise, went on to play in a state championship game. And Josh, great football player, went on to play at Furman, Sam Weiss, and Stanford Jennings School, Cincinnati connection there. And he's going to be introduced. So be sure to check that out, and we'll talk to both of them when we come back for the second half.
And we'll have live action in about 15 minutes.
meeting tonight, please join us for a reception in the lobby of our auditorium for comments to our inductees and some light refreshments. Our master of ceremonies for tonight is Bill Cunningham. Bill is a longtime radio and television talk show host here in Cincinnati. Please help me give a warm welcome to Mr. Cunningham. Here, but also Thank you very much, Matt. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. You know, many times we look back at high school years as the formative years in which boys and girls become men and women. There have been about 50 students of Indian Hall that have made the Indian High School Hall of Fame out of thousands and thousands. Tonight, I am certain there are many kids sitting here tonight that in 5 or 10 or 15 years from now will be welcome into the Indian High School Hall of Fame. Two inductees tonight, and each for the admin of the year in their respective categories. First of all, Elizabeth Heinbach is a very, very special Indian High School athlete graduate. She's the only athlete in Cincinnati to qualify for 12 state meets in cross country, swimming, and track. In cross country, 3 times the Empire Runner of the Year in 2009, 2010, and 2011. In swimming, she was the CHL Swimmer of the Year. In track, 2 times CHL Runner of the Year in 2011 and 2012. She's the outstanding female senior athlete in 2012, a graduate 2012 from Indian Hill High School. She went on to matriculate at Stevens Institute of Technology, 2-time honorable mention All-American, 2-time NCAA qualifier. She also is qualified for the Boston Marathon and also the Ironman competition. So Elizabeth, because of your great athletic achievements here at Indian Hill, because of the way you conduct yourself as a student here, and the way you live your life today, it is my honor and privilege on behalf of the students, the faculty, administration, and the board to induct you tonight into the Indian Hill High School Athletic Hall of Fame, class of 2020. Elizabeth. Secondly, we have a Renaissance man inducted into the Indian High School Hall of Fame. That means Josh Cooper. As far as anyone's aware, he's the only person, to our knowledge, in Indian Hill to be a 4-year starter in football, basketball, and track. In football, first team Ohio Coaches Association, all Ohio defensive back. In basketball, a varsity starter for 4 years. Second team all CHL, honorable mention all Southwest Ohio 1997. He was also the Indian High School Male Athlete of the Year. He starred in football, basketball, and track. He matriculated at Furman University as a school record interceptions in the game against the Citadel. He's also second team coaches and media all-conference safety. Since he left Indian Hill High School and also Furman, he currently works with his wife as a political consultant in Tallahassee, Florida, where he advises clients such as Florida Senator Rick Scott, Governor Rick DeSantis, and State Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronis. In his spare time, Josh competes in barbecue and food sport competitions with his wife. They won 3 World Championships. 2017, Josh competed on Fox hit show, TV show, Master Chef. So, on behalf of the students, the administration, and the faculty here at Indian Hill High School, because of your great athletic achievements, because of the way you conduct yourself here at Indian Hill, and the way you live your life, it is my honor and personal privilege, on behalf of the students, faculty, administration, and the board, to induct you, 2020 class, into the Indian Hill High School Hall of Fame, Josh, the Renaissance man. Congratulations. And afterwards, we have more presentations in the side room. Let's have a rounding applause for these 2 great athletes. It was told to me that this is perhaps the greatest class in the history of the Indian Hill High School Hall of Fame. Josh and Elizabeth, congratulations.
I could sit here, couldn't I? And you can look this way.
Absolutely.
Welcome back, folks. I'm Rob Young with Brian Shaw in the booth, bringing you the second half action of the Deer Park Wildcats versus the Indian Hill Braves here at Indian Hill Braves Gymnasium. In the booth with us, special guest, Billy Cunningham.
Rob,
Welcome.
how are you?
I'm doing great. Yourself, sir?
Keeping a low profile. You know, my loyalties can always split when you talk about Deer Park, but when I pay taxes to Indian Hill, I want to be here, man. I want to see my money being spent.
And we spend it well. Thank you very much, sir.
I want to see it.
So, very rare occasion, they've actually got us on camera, which usually we're not on camera. But so, Bill, you graduated from Deer Park.
66.
One of the greatest classes of Deer Park history.
It kind of stopped at that point. After that, not much happened until a couple of years ago. They went undefeated, untied, unscored on, 29-0, and won the state. But the biggest game they played was right here.
Yeah, that was great. Senior night here.
Senior night.
Down 9 with 2 minutes left. Amani McIntyre would not let them lose.
I was standing with the superintendent, Miles,
Yeah.
underneath the basket. We made a bet every year at Trios for lunch.
Oh, yeah?
And down 9, I'm thinking,
You're going to have to pay this year.
you hung the first one on him, baby.
I think that's what drove him to St. Louis. He's now since gone because of that. First of all, how you feeling? I know you had a big procedure. You've got a cow valve or something going on.
Let me explain what happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to Caracas. I'm healthy as a horse. I've run several marathons. I did New York a couple times, did Hawaii, did Bermuda, and I had no problems. But I ran into Caracas about 8 years ago at Kenwood, and he says, have you ever had a cardiac evaluation? I said, no. He said, let's do one. I said, why? He said, well, your mother had heart disease. She lived to be 90. I said, okay. We found that I have a bicuspid aortic valve, which is 2 flaps instead of 3. Oh, I said, well, I didn't know this. He said, well, eventually those 2 flaps are going to start doing this, and they're going to close. I said, close? What does that mean? He said, you got about 5 minutes. He goes, if it closes, no blood's coming out of your heart.
Right.
I said, Doc, that's a negative right there.
That sounds serious.
So, what do? He said, we'll monitor it. I went in January of last year, about a year, January 31st, and said, okay, the velocity and the volume of the blood coming out of your heart is bad. I said, but I don't feel any different than I felt. He said, no, we got to do this.
Right.
Plan A, open up your chest, crack it, 2 inches, stop your heart, stop your lungs. I said, is there a plan B? He said, yes, aortic valve replacement called a TAVR through the femoral artery. And I said, explain it to me. And I have a video, it takes 30 seconds. I'll say it's an 18-inch long catheter, and in the middle is a collapsible metal valve with a cow valve.
Yes.
And he weaves it up, puts it in place. It's all on a monitor. You're half awake. I kind of vaguely remember you have a dental procedure done. It was half awake. And he stuck it in there in place, opened it up, and from day 1, it's worked great.
Yeah, you feel better, your energy level, everything.
I think I do. What do you think?
I think you look good.
I think you look great.
The great Terry Grill from Meadville, Pennsylvania, who was a friend of yours at Kenwood Country Club, had exactly the same thing done just a year ago. And rock stars from all over the world are having it done. It's tremendous. Great time to be alive. Bill, you not only lived the CHL before it was the CHL, obviously, with Deer Park.
EHL.
Guys like you, Bruce Bagley, I mean, all the greats.
The greats.
The greats. Now you've got a new generation. Cole Cunningham over at Madeira High School is kind of the Tommy Miola, the Shep Messing of goaltenders. Talk about the CHL and how it's impacted your life.
Well, I talked to the boys at Deer Park at the beginning of the year, and I say, that is not a basketball I'm holding. I put a basketball in my hands. That is not a basketball. What that is friendship. It's a memory, and it's a college education for the handful that are better. It's not. If you think it's a basketball, you're missing out the friendship, the camaraderie, the athleticism, the glory, and you're missing out on a college scholarship.
Absolutely, and these kids play together. You know, I'm not sure what you think of this new collection of guys that are here. You know, you got a guy from Springfield, you got a guy from Roger Bacon, you got a guy from Taylor High School that have come in.
And Lithuania.
Absolutely.
You got to recruit all over.
And it really is an amazing thing to get kids to play together because, to your point, that whole thing about camaraderie and being good teammates and what they get out of this, I am extremely impressed with how Coach Gentry, he has a system that's fun. I think these kids love to play.
Well, they love to play.
System.
And what happens, nothing is forever, not even the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Yeah.
The only thing constant in life is change. Steve Gentry, I've known him for 20, 25 years, Xavier guy, and he wanted to get a suburban situation where he could teach kids how to play basketball and give them an opportunity to play. And he's got
a great
connections.
environment, a safe environment.
Safe.
A place
Walk
where
around Deer Park.
The people, the community supports and rallies behind them. And they can go to Italianate for lunch.
Number one.
Absolutely.
And when they won the state title,
Chicken on the run
Chicken
is
on the
also
run is
very
the
good.
place to go.
it's beautiful, it's safe, it's measurable, and the kids love each other. And they were the first team in the history of Hamilton County basketball ever to go undefeated and win the state title.
Yeah.
Mahler did it the next year.
Right.
And he put the team together. We embraced the kids, and these, I know them all, and they're good kids and they want to play.
Yeah, it's a great situation. I think for the league, a lot of Division II teams, Wyoming, Indian Hill, when you get to the tournament in Division II, you're playing Woodward, you're playing Hughes. Taft has dropped down to 3 this year for some reason. But you're playing an up and down game. This is one of the few games they get an opportunity to truly get better.
They get better.
And I think everybody's better for it. Obviously, a Friday night, the political situation is so cut and dry. We got the greatest president in the history of the world.
Better keep that, don't broadcast that.
We've got a situation that's so clear to see the fraud and the deception that's going on the other side. We don't need to get into that.
Don't get into that.
But if you're Kenny from Norway, if you're Lou from Missouri,
Well,
do you remember
you
Lou
go
from
back
Missouri?
away. Lou
The
from
people
Missouri.
want to know Joe Burrow. You've had Joe Namath. You've had Joe Montana. Is Joe Burrow the next one? Is, as Donald Trump said today at the White House,
Brady.
he's the next Tom Brady. Do
Brady.
you feel that way as well?
Well, Brady has a system around him and players around him.
Yes.
I don't want him to become David Klingler or Achilles Smith
Yes.
or Carson Palmer.
So you got a little more confidence in Joe Burrow perhaps than the Bengals brass in personnel.
The greatest player of all time in college quarterbacking, Roger Staubach, the greatest person and character. But I think Joe Burrow had the greatest season one athlete's ever had in quarterback in college, ever.
Yeah.
60 TDs, 6 picks.
Yes.
And he beat 7 of the top 10 teams in the country.
Yeah, they
beat
get set
Alabama
schedule.
there, beat
No, you're
Georgia
right.
there.
You're right.
I mean, this guy's special.
Yeah.
Now, will Mike Brown change a little bit and go to free agency, let others select players? He needs a line, he needs A.J. Green, and maybe OBJ. What about Odell Beckham coming here?
Boy, I
What
tell
about
you
him?
what. That'd be a real slap in the fanny, Bill. I tell you.
What about Beckham? What
That
about
would be
Beckham?
big. That would be
Can
big.
he bend it like Beckham?
Now, before that
Wrong
happens,
Beckham. Wrong Beckham.
Oh, wrong. I'm sorry.
before that happens, the Redlegs, and you talk about an organization a little bit different. You go down to Great American Ballpark, your ballpark.
They named it after me.
Absolutely. You go down there, and it's like Disney World. They're doing everything they can to make
Everything.
that great
And
experience.
there's one more big signing coming within a week.
What do you think that'll be?
Can't say. I've been pledged. I got a pinky promise with Marty.
Will it be a shortstop?
Can't say. You mean Lindor from Cleveland?
Lindor or Corey Seager?
Can't say.
Can't say, but you said Lindor.
Can't say.
Okay.
That would be called tampering.
Well, what do you think about this situation? Speaking of rules in baseball, Peter Edward Rose went out and put it on the line every night. Bet for his team, never against him. Banned for life.
Life.
Guys, basically
He did wrong, but 30 years is enough.
Turned the 2017 season upside down, made it a sham. The Houston Astros 1 year for these guys.
I think
What do you
Boston the next year did it too.
Yes.
Well, it's cheating. Now, baseball never takes someone down for cheating after the fact. 1919, the Reds are still the World Series champion, but the White Sox cheated.
Yes.
And so, unlike in college football, Reggie Bush take down the trophy and they take away the national title, I'd like to think that the commissioner of baseball is going to treat the Astros similarly to the way the commissioner of baseball treated Pete Rose. Pete Rose did not affect the outcome of any game. But let's face it, Altuve at home, on base percentage, 480. On the road, 170. Now, what does that tell you?
Bill, you were a great one, not only at Deer Park, but at Xavier. When you know what's coming, a little easier to hit.
What a move. We are missing a basketball game.
You're missing a basketball game. How about get back to the game, but I'll say this. It makes a baseball player into a softball hitter.
Bill Cunningham,
Brian Shaw.
you could be in Naples swinging a golf club, but you're here tonight.
I'd rather be. I'm watching my tax dollars at work.
And we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
God bless America.
Thank you.
God bless a great American, Billy Cunningham, leaving the booth. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So the Braves are down by well, this is getting physical out here. Well, folks, we had Billy Cunningham in the booth, talked about everything from politics to baseball to the great days of Deer Park sports and all the greats coming out of Ohio. And Steve Gentry and Josh Young are laughing it up because they play together all the time. They hang out in a gym together, working on their craft. Luke Robinson gets blocked. It's going to stay Deer Park. So it stays Deer Park ball with 2 minutes left here in the third quarter. It's 33-41. We've been missing a great game.
Yeah, I apologize, Rob. You know, you only get Bill Cunningham in the gym for a little bit, and I think hopefully everybody enjoyed it. They can see what the kids are doing.
So we've got another special guest, Hall of Famer Josh Cooper, joining us here in the booth. Josh, you played on the only Indian Hill team ever to make it to a state championship game. Tell us about that season.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We were talking about it earlier. A bunch of my teammates are here, and one of the things that was exciting for us, we didn't play that great during the season. You know, we were 14-6 in the regular season. We didn't even win the conference championship. And the first game of the playoffs, we almost lost. But we came together, we bonded, we committed ourselves, we decided we were going to play great defense. We were going to get the ball down low on the block to our star, Tad DeBoard, and we were going to make the extra pass. And everybody accepted their roles and said, you know what, let's just give it our best shot. And it was good enough to get the state championship.
Love it.
Awesome. And who was the coach that year for you?
Dale Harmon.
Dale Harmon. What a great...
Was Dale able to make it tonight? I see Coach Schneider right here.
We made it tonight. We did have a ton of my old teammates and friends and teachers. It was great for everyone to come out and be supportive. And the best part of it was my wife and kids got to see me. And you know, I keep telling how great I was. And now they're going to think, well, maybe he's almost a little bit close to as good as he says he was.
Hey, tell us about your journey, because it really is fascinating for us. You saw Bill Cunningham. I'm sure it's not the first time you've talked to him. You guys would have some great discussions.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure will afterward at the auditorium. But you go down to Furman, big Cincinnati connection there. Sam Weish's school,
That's
Stanford
right.
Jennings school.
That's right.
You go down there and you have a great college career. Do a lot of good there. But then I guess you take to that Southern lifestyle, and you've lived in Tallahassee since then. Get into the political consulting business. How did that come about?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, one of the great things about going to a liberal arts school like Furman is that you have to try lots of different things. And while I was there, I had to take a political parties course. It happened to be during a presidential campaign.
Right.
I got addicted to campaigns.
Yes.
And from that day forward as a sophomore, that was going to be my major, that was going to be my focus. And the day that I graduated, I got in a car and I drove to Arkansas to work for a U.S. Senator, and I haven't stopped doing it ever since.
Josh, so you graduate in 1998. The presidential campaign you're talking about, 2000, West Palm Beach, the Hanging Chads, the whole thing, Al Gore and George W.
That's
Bush.
right.
And now you're in Florida. And it's a tremendous story. Not only that, though, we understand the competitive fire that you've always had. Talk to Coach Eli tonight before the game. Coach Eli talked about your competitive spirit. Talked about a play against Reading where it's 3rd and 20, and you get out of trouble, and you scramble for it, go all the way. Penalty. You have to come down, do it 4th and 30, whatever the case may be. You have to come back. We talked about that. Some guys have difficulty when they're as competitive. You found a new outlet with food. Tell us about that. That's really a remarkable thing I think people would be interested in.
Well, if you actually look at my entire life, everything I do is competition-based. From playing high school sports, going to college, playing college sports, going into politics. Politics is very competitive. You have a start of the game, you have an end of the game, and you either win or lose. Yeah. It's just like any other competition. And then I got into competitive barbecue. And I tell you, I love to eat. You can tell by looking at me earlier that I love to eat. So I could do one of two things. I could spend a ton of money going to really nice restaurants, or I could learn how to cook it. Yeah. As soon as I did that, I wanted to be the best there was. I wanted to be better than my neighbor. I wanted to be better than the guy next to me. So I got into the competition barbecue, and I learned everything I could about it, learned the tricks of the trade, and now I'm a 4-time world champion.
What's interesting to me, it's not just being a grill master from a barbecue standpoint, but it's also seafood.
That's right.
How does that happen? Because those seem like different things to me.
Completely different, but living in Florida, I eat fresh seafood all the time. Really, the name of the game for me, whether it's barbecue or being on MasterChef and cooking gourmet dishes, or whether it's competing in a seafood contest, I like to take traditional cooking styles and elevate it anyway. Yeah. So whether it's cooking barbecue and then taking that barbecue and turning it into something special, or cooking oysters on the grill, or searing scallops on a cast iron skillet, it's all the same thing. It's fire, it's science, it's making sure that you caramelize your food. It's all the same stuff. Whether it's pork, steaks, seafood, it's just understanding the science of cooking.
But there's a little creativity, obviously, just like being a point guard. Trying to create, make things happen for other people.
That's right.
Cooking as well.
Well, that's it. So one of the things in competition barbecue or competition cooking is the appearance and all that makes a big impact in your score. You got to make it look good. You got to make it look appetizing. You got to set yourself apart from the crowd. Yeah. So one of the things that we do is we really focus on the presentation and the plating, and that's where the creativity, the artistry comes in and allows you to create and be different.
Yeah. Thinking about coming here now, as you think about Cincinnati, anything you missed? Did you hit Skyline Chili?
We went to Skyline. We had a tour of the school today because the school's changed so much from when I was here. But as soon as we were finished, I took my wife, kids, mother-in-law. We all went to Skyline Chili, and I was concerned that maybe those Texas folks wouldn't love Cincinnati chili.
Your wife Gannon over here,
yes,
right?
She loves her some Skyline.
And Gannon is a Texan.
She is a Texan.
Hook 'em horns.
She said, this is not traditional chili, but man, is it good.
I have friends that have said the same thing from Texas. Where are the beans? This isn't chili. I've heard that quite a bit. But that cinnamon and that chocolate, you got to love that. A guy like you, when I first moved to Indian Hill, I lived next to the Commissar family.
Oh, yeah.
Lee and Joan. Lee ran the Masonette for years.
Oh, yeah.
He went to an assisted living community at the Kenwood. And the first thing he said to me was, man, the food is great. I said, Lee, if that's coming from you, that's got to be on a billboard. If you say the food at the Kenwood is great, same thing with you. If you say you love Skyline Chili, we got to get you something.
That's it.
Where we get you a billboard or something,
well,
a master chef.
I'll tell you, sometimes it's just the simple, good food that you grew up on that really brings you back to your roots and to your, so many great memories. So it was fun to go there today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, congratulations. And everybody, I can tell you, Jack Alley, don't know if you remember Jack Alley, Larry Eli, Coach Hearn, Cliff Hearn, Coach Schneider, everybody that you talk to, Coach Birch, the varsity coach now. I'm sure Kevin Seipel would say the same thing. Everybody, no question about it, that's a Hall of Fame guy.
Well, I appreciate that. It means a lot. And, my time here was important. And I love I love the life lessons that we learn from sports. You know, a lot of times, sometimes athletes can get a bad rap for things, but I'm going to tell you, sports teach you the greatest life lessons. And in my business, if I'm going to hire somebody, I want to hire somebody that's been on a sports team, who's competed, who's had to pick themselves up when they were down, even when they didn't want to, who knows how to share with their teammates and knows how to work with people they might not otherwise want to.
All right. If this year goes well in Kansas City, I know you're talking about some rubs, some spices, maybe some sauces, maybe even a restaurant. Where do the people find you?
So that everybody can go to my website. It's www.thenextlevelbbdq.com. And you can go on there, you can check us out, you can send us an email, and we're going to be competing for the World Food Championships here in May. Chance to win $100,000 and a title of World Food Champion. And then we're going to go to Memphis in May and compete for another World Barbecue Championship.
All right. Come back and bring some of that with you.
Thanks, I appreciate it,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us.
All right, go Braves.
Go down to Fort Myers to get your Skyline. They've got a Skyline in Fort Myers.
I stop in Clearwater first, eat there, and then I go to Fort Myers and get it.
There you go.
All right, thanks, I appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, everybody, too, that knows both of them have talked about the similarity between Josh and Trey Lopez. Two guys cut from the same cloth, competitive nature and athletic and fast.
Well, the Braves are down by 15 now. That last quarter was a difficult quarter for the Braves. Got a few guys in foul trouble in Lopez, Whitehead, both with 3. And that'll be Young's 3rd foul. I didn't see what happened there, Brian. Did you see what happened?
I did not. One of the things that you see, style of play, when you do this every game, it's a little different, in the second half than when you do it, 4 or 5 times a year. And I would say Deer Park, and then when we talk about the tournament, the speed of the game, we have a couple of situations, but the Braves doing a great job hanging in. Just need a couple of shots.
Lopez up with a 3 off the mark.
Couple of shots to go and get right back in this.
So it's a 4-possession game right now. Deer Park up by 12. In our days, that would have been a 6-possession game.
Danny, what's up?
Yeah, I really think, not just because the Braves are down with 6.5 minutes left, but I really think this game would benefit from the shot clock.
I do too. And Thornton's going to go to the line for an old-fashioned 3-point opportunity.
Ty Thornton able to get that almost any time he wants. And if he can't get it long enough to be able to shoot over people and pull up. But, yeah, I really think, just having kids have to continue to play, and not overthink the game. Really, when there's a shot clock, really kind of have to react. Not a lot of wasted time, wasted emotion. Have to get into it. You get rewarded for pressure like this. So, love to see that happen. I know it's another person working at the scorer's table and a little bit of cost for this shot clock, but if you're going to do it, might as well do it right. A lot of hands going on both sides.
He's shooting 2. That foul, I think, is going to go on Ty Thornton. It'll be his 3rd foul. So the Braves are down by 9 now with Deer Park at the line. On this Hall of Fame night, 5 minutes and 57 seconds left here It's going to stay. That'll be Young's 4th foul. Putting McIntyre at the line. That's the 8th team foul. You know, Brian, it's interesting. We get a couple ticky-tack fouls. We're going to bring the other Hall of Famer tonight into the booth. Elizabeth will be in here, one of the greatest runners and swimmers from Indian Hill. Had the pleasure of watching her run track with my niece, Natalie Somerville, who held the 400 relay record for a while here at Indian Hill. That was a great relay team. No, that's not the right one. You know, that was for swimming. Well, she'll correct me on this. I just remember her running track with Natalie. So welcome into the booth, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Great high school career. Great opportunity tonight to come back and experience this. Tell us a little bit about your journey through high school and then on to college.
Gosh, I don't know what to say. I guess my journey through high school, it started cross country. It's with Coach Savage all 4 years. Had really great experiences on the cross country and track team. And I also swam year round and for Indian Health team. And just great teams all around. I always had great coaches pushing me, and I think everyone was really nice. All my coaches were really fantastic, working with the fact that I did do, 2 different sports, both that required a lot of time.
Right. So you had Coach Savage.
I did.
Everybody knows Coach Susan Savage. You also had swimming coach. Who was your swimming coach?
I had a few different coaches in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gretchen Bloomstrom was one of them. I don't remember. There's one my freshman year, Dave. I'm not sure what his last name was.
Okay. So you go on to Stevens Institute of Technology. Fantastic. Actually, kind of a unique campus, right? Hoboken, New Jersey, right across from Manhattan.
Yep.
Tell us about that. And I think you swam only there.
I did,
right?
yeah. So I swam there. So Stevens is a small, it's D3. It's mostly engineering school.
Yeah.
And it's in Hoboken, New Jersey. So it's right on the Hudson. It overlooks Lower Manhattan.
Okay.
So it's a really gorgeous campus.
Yeah.
And Hoboken itself is a really cool town.
How did you come to find Stevens? How did that happen?
I got a letter in the mail from them, and I think my mom had heard of them, and I was already going out to the East Coast for some visits.
Yeah.
So we decided to add it on.
Right.
And it's kind of a funny story. When we went and visited, I wasn't set on going on a recruiting visit at all. I thought it was fine, but I didn't need to go back. But then my twin sister got invited to go on a recruiting visit for lacrosse.
Okay.
And it was the same weekend I had been invited to go for swimming. And I'd only had 2 recruiting visits set up at that point.
Yeah.
So I just decided to go.
Yeah.
And naturally, I ended up going there, and she didn't.
Okay. And did you know you wanted to be an engineer when you got? I mean, obviously
I did.
that's what they do, right?
Yep.
Yeah, mechanical engineering.
Yeah, I think they might be the first mechanical engineering school in the country.
Right.
One of the first.
Right.
So they're really known for that.
That's fantastic. I've got a son that plays basketball at Division III level at Swarthmore College in Philadelphia. They were just up at Stevens a week ago, and the guys just raved about that campus, how cool that was to be so close. And does it have a small-time feel, though, or a small-town feel?
It is.
Yeah, it's not quite the hustle and bustle of the city?
Yeah, Hoboken's a pretty small town, so it has that small-town feel, but then you're maybe a 10-minute walk and then a 10-minute subway ride into the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really
So you kind of
cool.
get the best of both worlds.
And Frank Sinatra music playing all the time? Is that
Definitely
right?
some of it, yeah.
Did Coach Savage call you when you got there? You're swimming. Did she say, you got to run? You got to run? No? Fall or spring? No?
Had a tearful conversation.
You did?
We did have a tearful conversation because it was something she also loves to do.
Yeah.
But swimming was her passion, and you have to pursue that.
Absolutely. How many runners do you think you might have had that have gone on to run in college? I mean, if you had to ballpark it.
10% maybe.
10%? That's
probably
a lot.
20,
Yeah.
25. Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
Different levels.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a Hall of Fame coach, there's no question about that.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
West Virginia Mountaineer. She tried to steer you to West Virginia?
No, she did not.
No?
So tell us about the journey into the Ironman. That is a unique competition.
It
Are you
is.
doing mini Ironmans, or are you doing the full-blown?
I'm doing the full. I did one half last summer, and my mom did an Ironman. She did one back in 2002.
Okay.
So that's where that totally stemmed from that. Because back then, they would, when you finished, they would let your kids come on. They finished on a track, I think, and they would let your kids come on and finish with you. So I still have that memory from back then of, going on. Not that I totally understood what an Ironman was, but you get to go out there and finish. And ever since being there, I wanted to do one.
So what's your goal? You want to go to Hawaii?
I'm sorry?
You want to go do the Ironman in Hawaii?
I would love to someday. This goal on this one's just to finish and enjoy it.
Right.
We'll go from there.
So you're at SHP, right? Architecture now?
SHP, yep.
Working here in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
It just seems like you've done so much in such a short period of time. Just graduated in 2012, correct?
Yes.
And I always say, every year when this happens, the guys come up and they're pretty good athletes, but the females at this school, it's unbelievable.
Are remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. It's an amazing thing. Well, thanks for coming on and joining us. I'm
Thanks
sure
for
there's
having
somebody
me.
tuned in that knew that this was going to happen but couldn't get into town, and I'm sure it was meaningful to them, and I hope they enjoyed catching up with you.
And best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you.
Well, that's terrific, Rob. I'll tell you what, inspirational, no question about it. Josh Cooper, Elizabeth Heimbach, truly some great alums here at Indian Hill.
Well, this game is getting close. Josh Young has fouled out. Mateo Lopez has 4. And I think we're going to go back and watch this film, and you're going to see a Braves team that has been fighting tooth and nail, playing physical ball. The Wyoming AD said about some of these Indian Hill players that they were some of the toughest, most physical players they've played against, and they actually shut down Evan Prater in that game.
Yeah, Prater's a terrific talent. We've talked about the number of guys on that Wyoming team. Terrific team. But, Braves did a great job of hanging in there. 2-possession game. And, here we are in a 2-possession game right now with just under 4 minutes left. Rob, apologize. We'll get back to basketball on this. You look at the foul situation. Both teams in the bonus. And that's going to come into play here in the last 4 minutes. Who can make these free throws? I think one of the things, Rob, you see when a team gets a little short-handed and the numbers start to reduce, the guys now know that they have to do it. You can't look over and say, well, Trey will do it, whatever the case may be. I think all these guys know they have to pick up something. And this Braves team has really rallied here in the last week. Really big-time minutes here for the sophomore, Luke Fulke.
But Amari Whitehead is the breakout player. You realize Whitehead has 19 points tonight.
Yeah, Whitehead doing it as you just saw there with the block, doing it on both ends. He might get an offensive rebound here.
That's going to be off walked. Whitehead, a senior, only been here at Indian Hill for 2 years, a football player, a young man who's passionate and fiery and brings a lot of excitement to the floor.
Antoine Peak, another sophomore, checking into the game. And Amari, from the first time I saw him, when he first came here and he was over in the gym in June a couple years ago, just looked at him and said, that's a guy that's going to help you compete. That's a guy that plays hard. And the Braves were really transitioning to a team that had a lot of skilled players, but not, we're missing that ingredient. Kind of like what we talked about with Damani McIntyre. Yeah. Deer Park had some really skilled kids, some really nice kids, but Damani McIntyre took them to a different level competitively. And Amari has done the same, I think, here for Indian Hill.
So he hits both his baskets to make this an 8-point game.
And with Trey out, that is a big deal right now.
And, you know, we talked a little bit about it earlier, that, and Josh brought it up, you know, right now for the Braves team, it's about finding their identity. It's about getting prepared for the real season that's ahead, which is the state playoff.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says this team can't make a run into the playoff. They're young, a lot of inexperienced. You know, the dynamics and the chemistry on the team, they're only into their third game, trying to figure out, with Young back, Lopez out, trying to figure out who they are as a team, and to have Folke come in and step up, and Pete step up. Now we're talking about getting guys some valuable minutes that will help when we get to the tournament.
And Rob, when you talk about that experience and that understanding of how to win, you're seeing it right here with Deer Park, with Sean McIntyre and Steve Gentry Jr. You know, these are guys that are going to take that clock and just absolutely milk that clock. Other three guys are getting it.
Whitehead breaks up the inbound pass. Again, it's an 8-point game. They're going to bring Lopez out, save his minutes. Get some guys out there. You know, Lopez has 4 fouls, so we do not want to lose Mateo.
Well, that's a big-time play. First of all, you beat a very athletic Folke. You beat the help when Wyatt comes to trap. Get out of that before it happens, and then finish over a very long Ty Thornton at the cup. Very impressive.
So it's a 10-point game here with a little over 2 minutes left on Hall of Fame night.
Looks like a little bit of offense for defense. Mateo Lopez back in the game. Gets a clean look.
Folke gets the rebound. Blocked with the putback.
Yeah,
looks like number 3 for Deer Park, and that is John Munson.
Yeah, Trey Munson rolling the ankle, and that doesn't look good.
No.
Looks like hopefully he'll be back in another game or so, but it doesn't look like a tonight return. Hope I'm wrong. But this Braves team now down 3 possessions. And they're going to need a little bit of good fortune here, Rob. Minute 55 left, but you know, you create it by competing, and they're still very much in this game. Robbie Gutman, the third sophomore on the floor right now. Antoine Peak, Luke Folke, Robbie Gutman. Braves looking for an opportunity to trap and then scrambling on the back end. And again, these guys doing a great job. Deshaun McIntyre.
Mari Whitehead trying to get the... We'll take that foul. Stop the clock at a minute 30. Going to bring our offense out. And that's really what Coach is doing. He's bringing in some of these younger guys to draw the foul, because some of our more seasoned guys are actually in foul trouble.
Yeah, Jamarian Jones, very smart play there to get the ball in his hands. 72% from the line this year, almost 73%. And he's been there quite a bit. This will be his 34th and 35th free throw attempts. A guy you really like to get it in the hands of at 76%, no surprise, Steve Gentry Jr. And he's shot 62 of them, so he's no stranger.
Shorten up the court. Whitehead with 19 points for the Braves leads the team in scoring. Probably leads the team tonight in rebounds. Cut it down to 7 with a minute 16. The Braves are going to call a timeout, stop that clock.
Yep. Right now, you know, you're looking at those Deer Park free throw shooters. Try to keep it out of Jamarian Jones' hands. Try to keep it out of Steve Gentry Jr.'s hands. Easier said than done. Braves with an opportunity to send him to the line, but at this point, Deer Park, those shooters with the comfort to know that they're shooting two, double bonus. Mark Wise with the throwback, the sweatshirt. You don't see that much these days.
Definitely not in high school basketball.
No, sir.
So it's a 60-53 game here in the fourth quarter with a minute 16. These Braves have strapped themselves back. They've got their senior captain Young on the bench, their senior captain Lopez, who did not play in this game, on the bench, cheering them on. Bringing in some sophomores and Fulke.
Yeah, trying to keep it out of his hands.
And Pete to play defense and not worry about getting fouls, while you have Lopez and Walks on the bench because they both are in foul trouble.
Like what they've got down here with Gentry and Jamarian Jones, can throw it back and forth. Got a chance to.
Hands all over the place for the Braves as they break it up.
Gonna have to, finish that foul. Well, I tell you what, that is a backbreaker.
And that's a bad move on McIntyre. He actually gets the foul. I believe that's going to be his fifth foul. Oh, no, they don't call a foul. I don't know why that wasn't a foul compared to some of the fouls they've been calling on the Braves.
Well, I tell you, Steve Gentry Jr. just saying, are you kidding me? You're going to let this ball get back to me? I'll just take it right to the cup. Trading threes for twos. Not enough time, though. And again, 76% once they get it in his hands.
And Birch isn't happy with that foul on Fulke. It's not the guy you want to be sending to the line.
Gentry Jr. just so fundamentally solid.
And you gotta like that stroke he's got on that line shot.
Yeah, it's one thing to shoot 76%. It's another to do it when you're closing people out. A lot of experience winning for this young man.
Good left-handed shooter, drains them both. Braves are down by 8 with 40 seconds left.
Going to be interesting to see a lot of coaches. DeMarco Bradley left to see his son play football.
Lopez up with the three, and it's off the mark. Watts with the rebound and gets fouled. He'll be shooting two.
DeMarco, stepping away a little bit at Taft, still involved, but stepping away from the head coach's job. Timmy Edmonds over at Wyoming to see Joey Edmonds play at Finley. Be interesting to see what happens with Coach Gentry with his son graduating. Undoubtedly he'll play someplace. Maybe a journey, maybe a journey for him, maybe at a couple of different places, but nonetheless, he'll be playing. Somebody will be fortunate to get it. Be interesting to see what Coach Gentry decides to do. If he does return, he's going to need 3 next year. And I'm not talking about freshmen.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens to sports in Indian Hill. The rumor on the Hill is that we're going to open enrollment next year.
I don't think that's going to happen.
They have to.
And I think the
enrollment at the middle school is down 48%, Brian.
No, the 8th grade has 210 kids. It's a record.
Right, they do, but the 7th grade has 100 and the 6th grade only has 90. So like I said, a 48% reduction when you look at 3-year rolling classes.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough sell, but the one school that does have it right now that I think is really well positioned is Reading.
Yep.
If you're going to do that in this league, hey, very conveniently located, 15 minutes from anywhere.
And it makes it a very interesting league. You go back to prior to Gentry coming to Deer Park, and this league was really for the most part, always a two-team league. You'd get Madeira having runs. You'd get Marymount every once in a while. Wyoming consistently there. Indian Hill consistently there. It's been great for the last.
The two bigger schools, without question.
Yeah.
And then Madeira with Coach Rockwell, Coach Reynolds, obviously going to give people trouble.
Yep.
But yeah, you're two big schools in it, and really, to me, I mean, I know there's a lot been said, a lot that's accurate that's been said. But the reality of it is, I think it makes your teams better.
Watts with a three. Makes this a 5-point game with 15 seconds. Quick timeout called by the Braves. Senior captains Lopez and Young greeting the guys, giving them encouragement.
Yeah, we could be seeing the end of an era, though, here with Coach Rebels, Coach Gentry.
Yeah.
See what happens. The rest of the league, though, you got a lot of things just getting started. I really like what's going on out at Taylor.
Taylor has turned into a nice program in the last couple of years.
Madeira's going to cycle back, they always do.
Yep. But it would be nice to see this league become kind of that Division II, Division III powerhouse league. Giving the Tafts, the Woodwards, the Hughes a run for their money.
Yeah, I honestly don't know enough about it, Rob, to say if it makes sense for Indian Hill. My guess is Indian Hill, Madeira, Marymount, Wyoming, probably not going to go that direction, but it's hard to say. I really don't know enough about it. Deer Park closed enrollment. Finneytown closed enrollment. Really, Reading and Taylor, those are the two in the league. Hats off to Trey Munson. Trey Munson coming out. I did not think he'd be back the way he left the court.
The way they basically carried him off.
Yeah, hats off to him for coming back and gutting it out.
Gives him another shooter on the floor.
And still a two-possession game with Trey Munson an opportunity to make that a three-possession game under 14 seconds left. Another terrific night really here in the gym. I know, basketball-wise, everybody wants to win, but what happened tonight with our Hall of Fame inductees and just a great crowd, great environment.
Gentry strips that ball away from Whitehead. He's just gonna dribble out. No need to foul, no need to do anything. Whitehead says, "You are not making another basket on us, though." So the Braves lose another close one, and they turn the scoreboard off very quickly. I don't know why, but it was, I think 67-60 was the final score.
Rob, one other thing I'd like to say about the atmosphere tonight, obviously the pep band, Mr. Barker and all the great work that they do, a tremendous group, just makes this a better environment for everybody. Appreciate that, and appreciate all the work, Hall of Fame committee, Ken Stegman and his staff, all the coaches, Coach Savage for stopping by, Josh Cooper, Elizabeth Heimbach. Really appreciate that. And it was a great night to be a Brave, regardless of this score.
So the Braves are going to go back to the drawing board. They've got a game tomorrow night right here, folks. We'll be broadcasting again right here from Indian Hill Gymnasium. I'm Rob Young with Brian Shaw. See you tomorrow night, folks. Stay brave, stay proud, stay strong.
Exclusive coverage of tonight's game on the Indian Hill Television Network has been a copyrighted presentation of the Indian Hill High School Video Department.